Today on the Carrie Campbell Show, I have the absolute blessing of interviewing Whitney motherfucking Jones, my friend and powerhouse, three-time Miss Fitness Olympia, also the first ever mom to win the Olympia title. And let me start that again because this is the intro. Fuck. 1 second. Okay. Today on the Carrie Campbell Show, I have the absolute honor of interviewing Whitney motherfucking Jones, my friend and powerhouse, three-time Miss Fitness Olympia, also the first ever mom to ever win the Olympia title. Wow, who is relentlessly driven to elevate you into your greatness.
Huh?
Thank you, Whitney, for joining me. I'm so excited to have you here.
Me too. I mean, gosh, I know our lives are so crazy and it's been difficult to get together in person. So just being able to see your face on screen, I'm thrilled. You're making my day already.
Right. I feel the same. The funny, I remember, I'll never forget the first time you and I met. We met at our dear friend Joe Polish's office, Genius Network. And Joe was like, he's an amazing connector. And he's like, Carrie, Whitney, you need to talk. And then we proceeded to stand in the library for 45 minutes having a conversation. It was like,
Yes.
okay,
And I
clearly
didn't even
this is
know
a
what we
cosmic
were
connection.
supposed to be doing. Yes.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And then since then, it's kind of been a little bit of back and forth. We've crossed paths a few times. Ironically, we live in the same state. However,
Yeah.
and we're always doing we got to get together, we got to get together, we got to
Yeah.
get together. And life, we're busy women making shit happen, basically.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, there's no stopping. So we're gonna cross paths, and when we get together, it's always a freaking fabulous time with French fries.
With French fries and mayonnaise. So
Yeah.
Whitney and I share the background of bodybuilding, and so it's a little bit of an inside joke. French fries and mayonnaise. That's my post show
Yeah.
go
I
to,
know. Heck
and
yeah,
champagne.
girl.
And the champagne, you got to have it. Well,
Champagne, yeah.
let's start there because I know obviously you're probably immediately identified as Miss Olympia, and
Yeah.
that's kind of your calling card. Obviously you are so much more than that, and I actually want to make sure that we dive into all of those other aspects because as a bodybuilder, as a Miss Fitness Olympia, people see that identity, and sometimes it's actually kind of hard to shake that identity to go into other avenues that you might be trying to reach in. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you face that, but let's talk about this. Three-time Miss Fitness Olympia, first ever mom. If I'm not mistaken, 2 years ago when you were defending your title, you actually tore your rotator cuff on stage, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, something like that.
Yeah.
So, when we're talking about that journey, knowing that a lot of what we talk about here on the show is identity and vision and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. Tell us a little bit about the journey to becoming three-time Miss Fitness Olympia.
Well, it was nothing I ever planned, which is what I love about my life. Everything has been pivot, shift, just roll with it and go, oh my gosh, this was never what was intended, but ooh, could be fun.
Right.
So I got into competing out of a dare. To be honest, I had no idea what I was doing. I saw some people in the gym that were just fit, right? And I said, what are they doing? Like they look great. And this person said, you could never do it. Now, truly, I didn't know if they were doing underwater basket weaving. I don't know what they were doing, tennis. Never thought of bodybuilding, but I said, yes, I can. Like, just, as a strong, powerful female, you don't tell us we can't do anything. So they
Amen.
said, well, then show up. There's a competition in a couple months. So I was like, in, and literally turned to my friend, like, what did I sign up for? What am I doing? Well, then I learned about the industry. And again, I'm not a bodybuilder. My division that I compete in, we get on stage, blinged out bikini, we don't flex. You know that. But a lot of people don't get it. It is in the bodybuilding umbrella. I do a fitness routine, 2 minutes of whatever, dancing, gymnastics, backflips, plyometrics. My niche is breakdancing randomly. But that all just came through the years. So I did. I wanted to try something different. I jumped on this dare and I just fell in love with it because there was some hard times in my life, things I couldn't control, a divorce, shadiness with business. I needed something powerful to control. My mom had recently passed away. I needed something positive, let's be
Yeah,
honest. So
right.
I fell in love with this. And I think that's where women really excel. And I started finding my identity in something that I could control when everything else in my life I couldn't control. And I just happened to start doing well. The intention was never to win. And I truly always equate that to my success. I didn't care the outcome. I 100% can say that. I was not like the normal person out there. I was a lot older. I got started in this industry when I was 35. So come on, I'm competing against 20-year-olds. I didn't care if I won. I love to go out there. I love to have this creative expression. I love to see, am I doing everything that I set out to achieve? And if so, before I hit the stage, I already won. And there were plenty of shows before I hit the stage, I went, nope, I'm not the winner. So, however, the outcome, whatever shook out as the results, I was just stoked that I got there, I finished, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I mean, this is like reminiscent of that first 45-minute conversation we had because there's like
Yeah.
20 things you just said that I'm
Yeah.
like, and this, and this, and this. So let me say, I'm going to say this first, then I'm going to come back to something. I just won my title in Mexico. I was defending my title in Mexico, Miss Fitness 45 plus, and I was backstage after having won, and the woman who won the open and the 35 plus division, we both won last year as well. So we're kind of sitting back there and we're having this conversation. And she says to me, she goes, is it just me or is like it doesn't feel as exciting this year as it did last year? And I said, like the win, and I said to her, I said, let me tell you something about winning that I have learned. And I don't think everybody's going to get this, but what
Yeah.
I've learned is that the winning is just the moment. The actual journey is the win. The
Oh,
journey to that moment,
totally.
the crown is a 10-second moment. And once I arrive at that moment, I'm like, okay, cool, what's next? But it's
Yeah.
not that I'm not grateful for it. It's just the journey. And it's one of those, rhetorical things. It's not the journey, destination, it's the journey. But
Right.
if you really have that winner's mindset detached from outcomes, that is where you
Totally.
find the
Yeah.
win.
Yes. 100% agree. And then, I love that mindset because it's so true. And it's a blip on the screen. And like I told so many people, a true champion is not the moment on stage. It's what you do with the title, how you represent, what you do with that platform. That's where the win and the
I love it.
real joy is. So, you have to enjoy the journey up. And then when you win, it's like it's an acknowledgement of the journey. Then with the title and what you do for that entire year that you're holding it is what sets you. Are you a true champion or are you just a winner?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I love that. So let me back up because I'm not sure I was listening to everything you were saying, but I'm not sure you actually dropped this in this conversation. It was another conversation. If I'm not mistaken, prior to you deciding to go do all the jumps and all the flips and all of this on stage, which is
Yeah.
insane. Every time somebody says to me, oh, you do fitness, do you do the routine? And I'm like, oh, hell no,
Ah,
not a chance do I do that because it's
yeah.
hard stuff. But if I'm not mistaken, before your decision to do that, you had never had any background in gymnastics or any of that stuff. You learned
No.
that from the ground up at
Yeah.
35, everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I was a daredevil child. I have no gymnastics experience. I did dance when I was like 5 or 6, maybe like tap. And then I did high school cheerleading, but it was nothing like it was now. Like we were our own coaches. So, I mean, I learned how to flip and stuff in my front yard on a pool raft. But then it's
Crazy.
like then you don't do it, and it's not like I could do backflips and stuff. Like it was just like cartwheels and basic stuff. But then in high school, I would try a few things, but I know like technique at
Yeah.
all. But that's what I love. Like then when you get in this sport, it doesn't matter how you do a backflip, just don't land on your face. So I
That's a good
loved
rule of
this
thumb.
challenge. And I mean, sadly, I've had a lot of injuries, but I'm a daredevil. And
Yeah.
so at 35, it's like, ooh, could I do this? And could I do a back layout? And can I learn break dancing and do swipes and all these crazy things? It's like, yeah, let's figure it out. So if anyone ever watched my routines, they'd look at my technique and they're like, that is all wrong. But if you do it fast enough, no
Mm.
one's going to catch.
No
And the
one's gonna notice.
judges aren't gymnastics judges. They're
Right,
there looking at the overall performance.
right.
And you could have, I mean, your creativity as an athlete, it could be anything. You don't even need to do flips.
Right.
So I just used the tools I had in my toolbox to create something dynamic, powerful, where they feel your energy. Like when you hit that stage, you want the audience to feel your energy. I need to feel it from them, but I have to put it out first. However
Yeah.
you deliver that, it's up to you as an athlete.
Yeah, totally. I love all of that. So, okay, again, three different ways I want to go. So let me go here first. I do a lot of work around identity. I do a lot of work around when you decide that, I mean, 35, I want to become, Miss Olympia, whatever that means. Not even really sure what it means yet.
Yeah,
You
totally.
are, a 35-year-old mom, whatever you were at that time, in order to become, and you've said, it's funny because you've said the word daredevil 3 times. So I can tell that
Yeah,
daredevil's part of your identity.
yeah.
So when you had to make that shift into the champion mindset, into the woman who's going to become Miss Fitness Olympia, if that was what your target was when you started the journey, I imagine you kind of aim to do the best you can and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
What did you have to go through from an identity perspective? Identity shifting, was that intentional? Was it deliberate? Did you do anything to make that shift?
In the process, I mean, that's a great question. In the process, I didn't really know, to be honest, because I didn't know if this was kind of a short-term journey or if this was something I was really diving into. What I found was I loved the example that people were seeing. And then that
Mm,
kind of helped me shift into this role model. Because
right.
again, I was not like everyone else. This was a hobby. I was a mom first. That was by far my biggest role. I was a single mom. They took massive priority. Then I was a business owner.
Yeah.
During that process, I went from running 2 businesses to 6 by the end of, competing. And it's like that was my second priority. This was a hobby. So I literally started kidding this identity of you try hard in your sport, but being that athlete is not your entire identity. And that's honestly what
Yeah.
I kind of didn't like about the industry was
Yes.
people had nothing else going on. So if they didn't win, their life and their identity and their worth was shattered. And I thought, gosh, I mean, this is a subjective sport. If you put
Hmm.
all your own personal value on the result that is not within your control, you'll be shattered. So I never
Totally.
wanted my identity to be just as an athlete. I loved that I was able to be a champion and use this platform to inspire women, moms to say, look, on paper, I should have never, ever, ever even been an option to win the Olympia title.
Right.
But you believe in yourself, you go after it, you set high expectations for yourself, and you go. And you don't put all your eggs in one basket. So I
Yeah.
loved the identity of being a role model in a very
Mm.
unexpected way.
I love that so much because of the open-ended nature of that.
Yeah.
It's not like you said, it's not an athlete. And I face this a lot with my private clients who I work with who are professional athletes or corporate executives. Every single time they come towards the end of their career, they are hit with this massive identity crisis
Yeah.
because they have been defined their whole lives as a professional athlete or a CEO or whatever the case may be. And so I think that looking at that identity as a role model is so valuable. And it brings a question, and I'm curious to know how you navigated this for yourself. And I know for a fact, because obviously I follow you on Facebook and Instagram. So I see your world, which means I see when donuts are going down I know that I see it, right?
Oh,
And,
whoa.
sometimes, people, who are coming off of a stage, they won't do that, or they go to the extreme and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
what I've observed through you, and I don't necessarily believe that life is ever perfectly balanced. I think balance is actually an impossibility. I think we're always learning how to balance things.
Yeah.
But, for me in particular, having just come off a show 2 weeks ago,
Mhm.
and anybody who's ever been on a stage knows that the reverse is the hardest part when you're
Oh
coming
yeah.
out and your body wants to eat everything in sight. And, coming off of that, what I always say is that like I have to learn how to take from one goal and give to the next.
Yeah,
Because like I want to come, my best friend was up visiting me, and then my daughter was up visiting me. I'm like, I don't want to not go out for dinner with my best friend. And
totally.
like I don't want to not have that. And so there's this balance of like taking from this goal to give to the other goal. So I'm not going to be a perfect quote unquote athlete this week,
Yeah,
but I'm not just an athlete. I'm all the things. So I'm
yeah.
curious to know how you navigated, I mean, I think the role model thing serves you, but how do you navigate the balance of all of those things that you're pursuing, and when to know I'm all in on this, I'm all in on that, and how to shift it? Does that make sense as a question?
Yeah, but you're right, because what matters to you, right? Everyone has a different definition, but it's about being present. So if I'm competing and I'm prepping for a show, I need to be present at all times in whatever I need to do to be at my best come show day. But it's months of training, so you can't put aside everything else. But then if I'm with my kids, I need to be absolutely present. So for me, that's where I started realizing there's times that I'm going after multiple goals. Most people are. Like, most people are trying to control, balance, achieve high things in multiple areas. But I found that if I didn't kind of focus on this goal and then say, I'm done right now, I need to take that out of my brain. And now I'm going to go focus on this. And I'll be 100% present at that time, and then it would be, okay, I need to focus on work. I need to be present on work. And I can't think about meal prepping or what time I'm getting to the gym. I can't worry about, oh, what Christmas present I'm going to get for my sons. It had to be being present. And once I realized, like, and I had to focus on this because my brain, I got ADD brain that goes everywhere. I had to really say, focus, like just focus. So, for me, that's how I found a lot better balance, because if you don't pay attention to your priorities, they're going to push aside and you're going to fail. So, it's hard, but like you said, you're all in with your show. You won, you accomplished something. You need to still stay in that zone, but not 24/7, or you're going to have no friends and you're going
Yeah,
to have no
right.
relationship with your daughter.
Yeah.
So that's where you have to shift and go, okay, well, I can still eat healthy and not go crazy post show, enjoy a social outing with my best friend or my daughter. And but then you still just keep kind of living aspects of all that you're achieving, but it's underlying at that moment when you're focused on your single priority.
I love it. Yes, I meant yes, yes, yes. So many questions. Okay, let's take it. So I agree with you wholly on that. Not surprised that you and me are in alignment on that. So the question that came into my head as I was listening to you is the women who are listening, who are probably going, well, but how do you not get fat then? Right? Because we
Mhm.
all we all know that a lot of women jump to the like, okay, but tell me how
Yeah.
I, manage this and I don't get fat. Now, I was going to ask you a question around how you managed that from a tangible standpoint, but you kind of sort of answered it. So I want to go a little bit of a roundabout way. So for me, when I learn how to take from one goal, give to the next, it
Uh-huh.
really all comes from my vision down. I always say decisions are made in the vision. And
Uh-huh.
so if I have clarity of my visions across the board in my relationships, in my business, in my fitness, in all aspects of my life, I'm able to move the pieces on the chessboard, so to speak, to
Yeah.
align with the vision because I have such a clear vision of what I want for my relationships, etc. So
Sure.
talk to me, how do you navigate how do you navigate the reality of like, okay, I'm not going to be perfect on my diet, quote unquote. I am coming off a show. I want to have social interactions. How do you navigate that? Like put it into practice for the women listening who are
Mhm.
struggling to balance it all. What would you
Yeah.
tell them?
Well, I mean, for me personally, like I love an active, healthy lifestyle. I also enjoy treats. My diet, thankfully, I have a little bit more leeway than others, but I still have to keep things in check. But for me, it's about, I've found through trial and error, the more I stressed about, oh my gosh, don't eat this, or I need to go do extra cardio, or I need to hit the gym for a lot longer, it always backfired. So mentally, when you're checked out, so if I'm so stressed about what I'm eating, I'm going to gain weight no matter what. And that is a proven fact for me. Even
Can
if
you
I
repeat
eat
that again?
healthy.
Repeat
Yeah.
that again for everybody listening, because ladies need to hear this. Say that one more time.
Yeah. If you are so focused on eating right or too much exercise and you're stressed because you're not being perfect, you're going to gain weight. So you have to control your mind, your cortisol levels. Stressing out has just as much impact on your weight as eating splurge donuts and fast food and skipping the gym. So if you can control your mind, if you can stop beating yourself up, if you can have some fun within moderation, that's how you win.
Yeah. Yeah. I love, oh gosh, there's so much good in there. And it's actually, I always tell this to people, like they've done the studies on cheat meals versus people who are stressed
Yeah,
about a cheat meal and who are not.
yeah,
And the one who's
yeah,
stressed gains more weight from it.
yeah,
It's so fascinating how our bodies work. This is so brilliant, because I think more women need to hear this message. We need to hear the message of balance, but what it
yeah.
really means, what it really looks like, right? So I love all of that. Let me pull it back around, because this is all the good stuff, right? The
Yeah.
winning and the success and all that stuff. And you have taken some hard hits. You have taken some hard hits, very specifically I know in your fitness career, but in life in general, we all have. I
Mhm.
made the comment before, right in behind you, it says "Win Broken,"
Oh,
the
yeah.
cover of your book, which is amazing. Everybody should go pick it up and grab it.
Yeah.
So you've taken some hits. You've had the challenges. What for you, if you had to pick, what was the greatest challenge that changed you? What would it be, and why?
That changed me. Gosh, I would say, ooh, that's hard to pick one.
I know, right? I know
It is.
it's not a nice question to ask.
Yeah. Um, I would say there was a period of time within, just a short period, a year. I lost my mom. I found out some things about my marriage, was suddenly a single mom, divorced, and was had a business partner who was stealing. So that was all within a year. That was life changing because in all instances, I have seen where people just crumble and their life goes into I mean, just to shit.
Mhm.
So obviously, people lose loved ones in their lives. My mom was my best friend. She was the pillar of our family. It was awful. It was fast. Cancer just took her down fast. Then, in the midst of that, I had this craziness with my marriage that was so unexpected. Two little kids at the time. And then it's the very brand new first business ever about this. At that point, I realized I'm just going to be one of those train wreck stories that everyone's like, wow, she had so much potential and she had a nice life. And then she just went, and I was so dead set on that not happening that I said, you know what? I'm going to scratch this. My entire life is starting over now. No one will dictate what I do. No one will stop me. Nobody will get in my way. And I dreamed big. I'm like, what do I want? I wanted to be an
Mhm.
incredible mother. I wanted to own my own business without any limitations where people could sabotage. I wanted to start fresh and not need a man. I wanted to own my own life. And it was just this drive. And it's probably because I was in such a depth and pit of sadness, anger, frustration, and just so lost that
Mhm.
I had a fire that ignited in me that I've never had. So, and obviously I still took a lot of hits from that moment, but that's truly what changed me. And I
Mhm.
loved the aspect of going, scratch this. I mean, I married my high school sweetheart. You have this vision of what your life should be. And I
Totally.
love that. You know what? Fuck it. I'm
Yeah.
starting over. And yeah, all that shit that I planned, it did not work out. So what? Who
Yeah.
gives a fuck? I'm
Yeah.
starting over and I'm doing me.
Yeah. I love that. It's I read a quote years ago when I was going through some stuff with my own daughter, and the quote was, "One of the greatest pains is the pain of the memory of what was supposed to be."
Totally.
And I was like,
Yes.
oof. Does that not hit? When you had
That's
this
so
vision
true.
set for yourself and all of
Mhm.
a sudden it's like rearranged, and it takes a moment, it takes a breath, it takes intentionality like you've done to
Yeah.
reshift that and redirect it. It's so powerful. So, I only know you as the Whitney of current, right? I mean, the
Mhm.
energy that you're bringing, I mean, I'm sure that you're like, there is a plug on you somewhere that you unplug and you unwind, which is a story that people say the same thing to me. I'm sure that you unplug eventually at some point,
Yeah.
because I have no doubt about that. But you are just a very energetic, very outgoing, like you
Yeah.
bring the energy, right? And
Oh,
so
thanks.
is that not who you always were then? Was that because you said there was a shift with that shift with your mom getting ill and everything
Yeah.
that happened? Is that not who you were as a child kind of growing up? Or was there traces of that?
There was traces. I was always the energy, like when I come into a room and I just want to spread happiness. But to be honest, that's where I noticed during that year, I'm like, I'm not laughing. For me, I'll tell you what, if I go through a period of time, because we all have bad phases, right? I have to laugh multiple times a day, or I realize I'm losing who I am and I'm losing myself. And so I just became this, like I'm told all the time, when you walk into a room, you're like the Energizer Bunny and you just bring this joy. So when I know I'm not bringing that, that's where I always will take a step back and go, what's going on? But I also lacked confidence. So until I went through that shit period, that's when I was like, I don't give a fuck if people like me. I'm not going to try to win anyone over. I am literally quieting the noise. I'm staying in my lane. I don't care. I'm creating me. Like I
Yeah.
would never be an entrepreneur like I am now. I would have never raced after these titles and done crazy things of traveling all over the world with Arnold Schwarzenegger and competing on stages that were insane. I would have never dared to be so different had I been in this life that was my picture perfect life, marrying, raising two kids, amazing husband. Like that was great, but I would have never been extraordinary.
Love it.
And
I
now
love it.
that's what I went after. So
I love it.
I gained the confidence. I always had this energy and this ridiculous, I'm just a goofball. So
Right.
that's always been me. But then I started through that hard time, I brought that confidence and the desire to really, once I started achieving things, to spread it to others.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And for me, it's so important for me here on the show to bring that to light, because, women who are listening, if they're just listening, they obviously can't see your energy, but they can hear it. Or if they're, they're catching you on social media, I think that we still live in this world where it's like, oh, that's so amazing for Whitney motherfucking Jones, but it's not for me. I can't do
Yeah,
that. I won't ever be able to get there. And so I think it's one of the things that I always strive to do is be very authentic about the truth of the journey. Like there's the ups, the
yeah,
downs, the in betweens, and that's really just bringing people in to help you understand like that we're all in it together. We're all go through shit,
yeah,
right? And everything
totally.
you said, what you were just saying for me is so powerful, because one of my own little internal mantras when things don't go exactly the way I anticipated them going, my internal mantra is something even better. That
Yeah,
there's something even better, maybe, just
yeah.
maybe there's something even better, which gives you that light to go, okay, there's possibility in front of me. And clearly you've obviously embraced that even better
Yeah.
for yourself.
Totally. I mean,
I
I
love it.
had this like kind of motto for me, bring me a challenge. I don't care. Like
Yeah.
I love it. This is where I thrive. When I have a huge issue, that's where I learn, that's where I level up. If I'm not thrown challenges, I
Mhm.
stay here and I get bored. I mean, I honestly say this was like I've had 18 surgeries. I've broken every bone because again, I'm a bit of a daredevil and I do a bunch of dumb shit, but some of it was like injuries that were kind of legit and others were like, you idiot. But again, like every time it put me into a place where I needed to think and go, okay, so with this setback, what do I do with it? And so
Nice.
I loved, I mean, I hate to say I love challenges because sometimes I'm like, enough. But every setback has brought me some crazy lesson. And I literally
Mm,
can itemize, oh, well, that one I learned
totally.
XYZ and this is what I did with it. So
Such
a
a high
lot of
level of
people sit in
mindfulness.
that victim mentality. No,
Yeah.
when shit
Yeah.
is just thrown your way, when life is giving you lemons, you've got to take the time to sit in silence and go, what
Hmm.
is this trying to teach me? Because
Yeah.
you're either learning from this or you're just falling back into that victim, poor me, and no one cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. No one's
Yeah.
there to help you except you.
Totally. Totally. I love that. I mean, our friend, I mean, I believe that you were friends as well with Sean Stevenson. And
Yeah.
he used to always say life is happening for you.
Yeah.
It's always happening for you. And it's so true. I want to pull one nugget before I switch direction. The one nugget you said, and I want to put this into place for women listening as like, and almost like a self audit. When was the last time you laughed? How
Yeah.
many times are you laughing a day? And I can hold I had exactly that moment in 2024 when I realized it had been a rough 5 years. And I had a moment where I was like, I don't laugh anymore.
Yeah.
And because I had started laughing with someone, I was actually you and I both did a Legacy Makers episode, so we
Yeah.
both are familiar. I was on my Legacy Makers episode set, and I was just laughing with Lauren and Ray, who are the producers, and I left there going, I haven't laughed enough. And
Yeah.
so, ladies listening, are you laughing? What a great internal audit. So,
Yeah.
speaking of ladies, speaking of mindset, speaking of laughter, let's talk about now. Let's bring this all full circle. What are you doing now? What are you bringing to all of these people that you're helping step into their greatness? What
Yeah.
does that mean? What mission are you on right now?
Well, gosh, so it's been a very interesting year. So at the beginning of 2025 in January, I owned 6 businesses. And it was like, what am I doing? Like, why work so hard when you can't enjoy it? So I'm like, I'm simplifying. I exited 4 businesses this year. So I have two, but then it's like, okay, I wanted to clear my plate to go, where am I really aligned? What do I want to do now? So, I have a youth entrepreneurship program that I lead as part of Genius Network. It's called Genius Youth. So it's 50 young adults, age 18 to 24, a few exceptions, but helping them understand like how to start a business. What's business 101? How do you market? How do you show up for yourself? Financial literacy. So traveling to different destinations, incredible speakers, and really helping to elevate the next generation of entrepreneurs and high level
Awesome.
executives. And seeing what our youth is about has been so empowering. And I
Mm.
love it. My own son is part of it as well. So that's one aspect. And then in 2026, I'm actually opening a massive concierge medical optimization facility
Wow.
that focuses on performance, recovery. There's nothing like it. It's called Vios Body. I have a partner that we are going. I mean, I can't wait for you to see it. It's
No
focused
kidding.
on
I'm
the
like, when do I book
entire,
my first appointment?
oh, girl, and especially for women. So, like, it does the full medical side, like your primary care physician, hormone optimization, peptides, you name it on the
Wow.
medical side. Then it does all aesthetics. So there's programs where it's literally it's unlimited personal training, massages, hyperbaric chambers, cold plunge, Botox, skin tightening,
Wow.
regenerative stem cells. So it's more high level concierge style,
Love it.
very limited capacity, huge facility, 25,000 square feet, but it's very dialed in for the person who truly wants to optimize their health. It's
Mm.
not just about working out. It's not just about taking hormones. You've got to do everything together. It's a fully integrated look at leveling up your life through technology. Like it's going to be incredible. So that is
Amazing.
a huge part of my life right now.
I love it. Do you have grand opening date yet or month?
So we're breaking ground in 2 weeks,
Oh,
and
so exciting.
so they say, I mean, it's crazy because I've built from the ground up several brick and mortar businesses, and they're very confident 8 to 10 months.
Wow.
I'm saying no chance. Like I
Right.
don't. But there, it's a
Yeah.
team. The facility itself, the build out, the remodel is about a $5 million project. And then
Amazing.
inside, oh my gosh, it is going to be like you'll never have seen anything like this.
Amazing. Are you allowed to share location? Where are you guys going to
Yep.
be
So
located?
we're in Gilbert. It's in
Okay.
Gilbert. Company name. So we haven't fully launched everything yet. But it's called Vios Body,
Love it.
VIOS Body. And yeah, I'm so excited because it's something that if I could build the dream place, this is what
Mm,
I want. And finding my partner in this was just like, again, everything happens for a reason. But
totally.
it's like at this age, I want to go to one place where I have access to everything. I'm going to go do
Everything.
my workout. I'm going to have someone stretch me out. Then I'm going to have a massage post workout after I hit the cold plunge in the sauna, and then
Amazing.
I'm going to have my regular treatments to make sure I look good as I age.
I love
Yeah.
it.
So yeah,
I love it. This is
2026
so,
is going to be
of
legit.
course, I was asking, like, I was, my Scottsdale ass was kind of hoping it was closer up to
I
Central.
know. Totally.
But
Yes.
it's going to be worth it. And anybody from the Phoenix area knows exactly what I mean when I say that. I'm so glad you said at this age, because I wanted to pull on that for a second.
Yeah.
Do you mind me asking? I know you don't mind me asking how
Oh,
old you are. How old are you?
48.
48. At
Yeah.
the age of 48, you have started, stopped, shifted, pivoted, got
Mm.
rid of things, added things, and are starting a massive project right now.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people have this belief system that the older we get, we have to slow things down. I'm the
Oh,
opposite. Like, retirement. What's retirement? I don't, why would you retire if you love what you do? That's my own belief
totally.
system.
Yeah.
But for all of the women who are listening right now, and they think it's too late, they've gone too far, they're too old, they're too something, that is limiting them from going after what it is, that dream, that song, that thing that lights their soul on fire. And I think this is a powerful place to end. What would you tell those women?
Dare to be different. You got to take the risks. Like again, this is a huge risk. I'm opening something that is a massive investment. But why not? I never want to get to the end of life and go, God, I wish I. I want to go, yeah, I did that and I did that. And you know what? You're gonna fail. Be strategic in what you do, but do it. Like it doesn't matter how old you are. Like you said, I think I'm like 23. I'm always going to act like an immature, fun loving, crazy, risky woman because I refuse to grow up. I have no desire to hide my age. I don't care. Again, this is what is empowering. Going, wait, you're doing what? I'm starting something crazy new at an age where it's going to require work, but like you said, I don't want to just be sitting in a chair watching TV growing old. That does not sound fun to me.
Awesome.
Retirement, yes, but if I was retired, again, I would still be going to these places. I want to have community. I want to be surrounded around like-minded people. That's why I'm creating this.
Yeah.
So it's like age is just a number. Dare
Yeah.
to be different, continue learning and thinking as a young exciting, ambitious person that you were, or if you've never been, start now.
I love it. I love it. And that's a mic drop, but I can't leave it at the mic drop because I've got to go somewhere totally random. Everybody push rewind and listen to that again. But now I want to pull in a little bit of your fun and your energy and your vibe to close this out. And it's,
Yep.
we're recording this a few weeks before the holidays. So whenever it's going to come out, it's probably going to be post holidays. But I happen to know for a fact you never take your Christmas tree down,
Yes.
and that every year it gets a new look. By the way, I'm in love with this year's look. It's totally my vibe.
Yes.
Tell us why the Christmas tree never comes down, and what's the story behind that?
Okay, so I don't, by the way, I don't know why my camera keeps doing this.
Yeah,
It's
it's
very
all
weird.
good.
But anyways, so years ago, my tree is very tall. It's a 14-foot tree. It's on a platform too. Well, several years ago, I broke my neck. And so
Mm.
I was in a full neck brace. Now, normally we love Christmas. My boys and I love Christmas. So we'd always keep the tree up till Valentine's Day, which is extreme, right? Well, that year, my boys were younger. They couldn't help me take a tree down. I'm a single mom and I have a neck brace. So I kind of made the joke of, well, I guess the tree is staying up all year this year because I can't take it down. And my boys were like, yes.
Love it.
I'm like, okay, so we keep it up year round. No, we don't change it for holidays. We make it obnoxious and crazy as hell because it stays up year round. It stays lit. We leave the lights on. I live in a two-story house, and every morning we walk downstairs and it's like, Merry
I
Christmas,
love
good morning,
I
lights
love
on,
it.
everything. Why
It
not?
feels good. So it's funny because it's an inside joke in my family because we keep or in my circle because I often don't take my Christmas tree down to like March or April.
Yeah,
And last year I actually just left it like so I have a home in Arizona, home in Montreal. The home in Arizona has not had the tree come down all year. So
yeah.
like you, my tree's up. And in Montreal, I put my tree up in October just so when I came back to Montreal in November, it would be there because it makes me happy. So,
Yes. And
you
who
know,
cares? It's my house.
exactly. I think that's like the perfect place to end. Like, do things that make you happy, smile, laugh. Who cares? Tell everybody to close us out. Where can we find you and your amazing self?
So on Instagram, it's Whitney Jones underscore IFBB Pro, or you can find me on my website, Fitwit Jones. And of course, my book, Win Broken, it's on Amazon and just type in WIN Broken, or you can find the book on whitneysbook.com.
I love it. I love it. Everybody go and check out this beautiful badass because she's just an
Oh,
amazing light in this world. So thank you so much for joining me today on the show.
thank you, babe. Mwah.
Mwah.